Hello. Last time, we introduced criminal punishment and immigration criminal examination in case of a foreign crime. This time, we will learn about how to relieve foreigners who are on the verge of forced deportation and forced eviction through examples. First, let's look at the most common foreign crimes and the degree of punishment. 1. Foreigners driving under the influence of alcohol. First of all, if a foreigner drives drunk in Korea, he or she will be subject to criminal punishment under the Road Traffic Act. If you are usually fined, and the amount is large, you may be subject to departure measures under the Immigration Control Act. There are many foreigners who know that if they are fined, they are not allowed to leave the country. However, if foreigners or overseas Koreans residing in Korea are fined for criminal activities such as drunk driving, they are more likely to be subject to departure according to the Ministry of Justice's criteria for determining foreigners' examination of penalty. If a foreigner is caught in a drunk driving crackdown, he or she will be subject to criminal punishment under the Road Traffic Act, just like Koreans. In the case of drunk driving, the punishment varies depending on the blood alcohol concentration. The specific sentences are as follows. Blood alcohol concentration. 0.03 to 0.08% fine, not exceeding 5 million won, or imprisonment for not more than 1 year. 0.08 to 0.2% fine of not more than 500 to 10 million won, or imprisonment for not more than 1 to 2 years. Fine of not less than 0.2%, but not more than KRW to 2 million, or imprisonment for not more than 2 to 5 years. In other words, in the case of drunk driving punishment, you will be punished even if your blood alcohol level is only 0.03%. In fact, even if the measurement exceeds 0.08%, the probability of receiving a minimum foreign drunk driving fine of more than 5 million won increases. If you add casualties to this, you will be more likely to be forced to leave the country because imprisonment will be added. It would be nice to end it with criminal punishment, but foreigners are forced to leave the country if they are fined more than a certain amount. The criteria for compulsory departure orders for foreigners are 1. In the case of being sentenced to more than 3 million won in a single fine. 2. Where the sum of fines within the last 5 years is more than 5 million won. As you can see in the foreign criminal punishment sentence, if you are caught drunk driving, you are likely to be fined more than 3 million won. If you're unlucky, a single mistake can force you to be deported. However, if you prepare in advance after the drunk driving crackdown, you can avoid forced deportation. First of all, if you're caught in a drunk driving crackdown and your blood alcohol concentration is subject to deportation, it's a good idea to respond with an expert. The best thing is to reduce the penalty for criminal punishment in the criminal investigation stage. Reducing fines in the criminal punishment stage can avoid immigration. In the case below, with the help of a legal expert, it increases the probability of being reduced in fines. In the case of a first-time offender of drunk driving and other crimes, where there is no loss of life or material damage caused by an accident. And legally, you have to prepare documents for the penalty reduction. The fact that foreigners lived and worked diligently in Korea. A petition that emphasizes the true repentance of one's wrongdoing. In the event of human damage, prepare an agreement that the victim agreed smoothly. In addition, reasons to stay in Korea, and if you have a family member to support, etc. It is recommended to reduce the sentence as much as possible by emphasizing that there was no intention of driving under the influence. If you reduce the fine to less than 3 million won at the above stage, forced deportation, eviction, can be avoided in the immigration examination. If the case of drunk driving is serious and the casualties are high, it will lead to initial police investigations, prosecution investigations, and court trials. And if you are investigated by the police for drunk driving, you will be examined for immigration after trial. The examination of criminality finally determines the deportation, eviction of the foreigner, so you have to prepare in advance. From the immigration examination stage, the government prepares relief procedures with an licensed administrative agent. Just like in the criminal investigation stage, appropriate documents for relief, such as wrongful involvement in a crime, deep remorse, and agreements with victims, are prepared and submitted to the Immigration Department. If you are a Korean, you only need to receive criminal punishment and fines. But if you are subject to a criminal examination, you may have problems extending or issuing a visa later. Usually, many people contact you when you are subject to an immigration examination a long time after the incident. Rather than this, if you prepare in advance at the stage of criminal punishment after being caught in a drunk driving crackdown, you are more likely to be rescued from a future criminal examination. If you are caught in a drunk driving crackdown and need legal help, please contact the contact information below. I hope you can stay in Korea legally. Thank you.